Hello everyone and welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Last time we got a nice long helping of Herlock Sholmes and his eccentric personality. He seems to change his mind quite a bit, and then at the very end we found out that Inspector Hosonaga is on the ship. And oh boy, I am excited. I really like this guy. He's definitely one of my favorites from the game so far. So, let's find out why Hosonaga is on this ship. I'm gonna go ahead and guess it probably has something to do with the Russian Revolutionary. But I don't know how that pertains to Japan, so we will possibly find out. Let's see. So what are your special orders this time, Inspector? Yes, and why are you dressed as a member of the crew? I'm so sorry. This is all my fault. I take full responsibility. For what? My orders were to act as Asogi-san's bodyguard. Oh. It was Minister of Justice Jigoku who pushed for his overseas study tour to go ahead. And he entrusted me with ensuring that Asogi-san reached Great Britain without being assassinated. Assassinated? How could that even be a possibility? I'm not sure. But these are complicated times. There are tensions between the world's greatest powers. Minister Jigoku said we should be prepared for all eventualities. This is incredible. I don't believe it. Kazuma-sama was assassinated? Obviously, we couldn't give Asogi-san a visible security escort. Which is why I'm undercover now, posing as one of the crew. I see. And I didn't take my eyes off him the entire time we've been on board, from morning until night, every day. But I never imagined it would happen here, inside his own cabin, not here on the first-class deck. I failed miserably at my assignment, and Asogi-san is dead as a result. I'm a disgrace. All I can do is humbly apologize. Inspector? So if there's anything at all that I can do to help now, just say the word. Alright, oh yeah, we want permission to investigate. That's what you can do to help us. We're doing what we can to investigate Kazuma's death ourselves. I thought you might be. You didn't do it, did you? You're not the killer? Of course not! We'd really like to investigate the cabin next door. Yes, so we need to be allowed out of this cabin. I'm sorry. What? You've been deemed a risk to the ship's safety. If you move to even touch the handle of the cabin door, that stormy-looking seaman there would surely snap your own neck in two. I suppose. I'm not just a stowaway now. They think I'm a murderer as well. Would it be possible to give me something to work with, do you think? I'm going to need something persuasive. Oh, what do you mean? If I had a solid reason why the next door cabin should be investigated, for example, I'd do everything I could to persuade the captain to allow it. Really, I'd lay my life on the line if I had to. But I don't see how... There may be a way. What? Really? Think of how you tried to persuade me of your innocence, Naruhodo-san, by presenting me with a piece of evidence that you already had in your possession. Evidence. It's just the same as when you were in court. You must have done it many times during your trial. Simply select the present panel and choose some evidence that Inspector Hosonaga could use. So, evidence that would give us a viable reason to investigate the next door cabin, is it? Alright, yes, I think I might know what we can use. Alright, So let's go ahead, back up, go over to present, and give him the diary, because it talks about the ventilator girl, which is next door. What's that? It's Kazuma's diary. Just before he died, Kazuma-sama wrote something rather strange in his diary. Strange? In what way? He wrote, what looks like some sort of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill. A speckled band. That is strange. Yes, we're still trying to work out what he meant by that, but what I'd like to know is... Don't tell me. The ventilator, is it? You're very astute, Inspector. That ventilator clearly joins to the next door cabin. That's right. So if we could investigate in there, we might be able to work out what the speckled band was. Alright then. I can't leave this cabin at the moment. I'm stuck here until we arrive at the next port. The cabin has given me strict orders to guard the scene of the crime, you see. I'll have to entrust the investigation to you. Really? You're willing to do that? Yes. As long as you don't leave the first-class cabin area. I'm afraid I can't remove those handcuffs, though. But what about the captain? Aren't you going against his direct orders? I'm a man of my word. And I promise you that I'll lay my life on the line if that's what it takes to convince the captain. After all, I failed to keep Asogi-san safe. This is the least I can do. Thank you. Let's seize the moment then, Naruhodo-san. Just like move and we can leave this cabin at last. Move. Alright, let's see what we can find out. Alright, onwards we go. Oh, I like that. It gives you a little hint. Is there a fucking mousetrap in the hallway? What the hell is that? Ooh, I'm finally out of that cabin. I have to admit, this isn't quite what I was expecting. It's less spacious out here than I thought it would be, and this is the most luxurious accommodation. Yes, indeed. Kazuma-sama was being sent on the study tour by the government. That's why he was being put up in a first-class cabin. Even still, this is about twice as large as my accommodation in steerage. Really? That must be awful. Oh, look over there. There's another crewman keeping watch, and he looks enormous, even if he is sitting down. The door next to him leads to the second-class accommodation. I suppose he's making sure that no one comes in here who shouldn't. I suppose. Like people in handcuffs. Naruhodo-san, you look like a little boy visiting a toy store for the first time. I would have thought you'd be used to the ship by now. We've been at sea for 2 weeks already. Well, yes, I know, but the thing is, I was inside Kazuma's trunk when I first came aboard, and ever since then I've been shut up inside that little wardrobe. Must have been a very trying time for you. Please, don't give me that pitying look. Well, let's examine some things. What about the ship section map? This looks like a plan of the SS Buria. It shows each deck. Look, sorry, I was trying to think of if there was a pun with the name of the ship. The Buria. The Buria is a large-scale steamship with a triple-skinned hull. What a marvel of engineering! Well, it's been playing on my mind for a while now, actually, but how is it that such a huge lump of metal doesn't just sink to the bottom of the ocean? Oh, that's really quite simple, Naruhodo-san. It is? Well, consider the Japanese archipelago. The islands of Japan? Yes, they're not metal, but they are enormous lumps of earth, many, many times larger than this ship. And they don't sink, do they? They've been floating happily on the sea since the gods created them. Okay. Yeah, I thought that was going that direction, so you don't know either. Well, I suppose so. I forget that this is the 1900s, and information and education is not widely known, and discoveries are still being made about the world. Basic discoveries that we take for granted nowadays. So, yeah, it's nice and interesting that they've written it this way. What is this thing? The big book. That's a huge book on top of the table there, and there's a pen next to it. Yes, that looks like the ship's log. Shall we have a little look through it? The writing is so neat and precise. Every detail about the voyage has been meticulously recorded. So it's like the captain's log? You wouldn't expect a rough and ready sailor to have such beautiful handwriting. And nothing. No reaction at all. I thought he might appreciate the compliment. I'm not sure that rough and ready is much of a compliment, Naruhodo-san, even to a sailor. Anyway, last night's log is mostly blank. Presumably that means there was nothing to report? I don't think so. I think maybe the person that wrote the logs is preoccupied. Let's check the mousetrap, or whatever this is. Ah, a trap for catching mice. Yes, we have plenty of those back home in Japan. Although they seem to be using a lump of chalk or something as bait. Let me see. Yes, I think that's what it's called. Cheese. It's made from the milk of cows. Cheese? I wonder what that tastes like. Oh my god. I forgot that Japanese people didn't have cows. Yeah, they didn't have cows until they were brought over by the Europeans. And then they made Wagyu beef, and Wagyu beef is outstanding. Please have some Wagyu beef. You can't eat it, Naruhodo-san. The trap will snap shut on your fingers. Really? But... I suppose you're right. You weren't actually going to try it, were you? All I've had to eat for the past couple of weeks is Kazuma's leftovers. You don't know how hungry I've been in that wardrobe. Poor you. I'll find a little snack for you later. I think the question that she asked earlier as to whether we were a pet or a dangerous item, I think we're more of a pet. What is this bell? What do you think this is? It's a very pleasing shape, isn't it? That's the emergency alarm. It's probably best not to touch it. Oh, an alarm. It says, press only in times of emergency. It looks as though it sets alarm bells ringing all over the ship and brings the vessel to a complete stop. Oh, guess I have to see. What are you doing, Naruhodo-san? You mustn't touch it. But this is an emergency situation. Just look at these handcuffs. Well, that's a new pose. You know full well that's not what the alarm is for. If you were to bring this vessel to a standstill for no good reason, you'd be in an even worse situation. I wish everything would just stop, this ship included. If you have to do something foolish, at least make it something that doesn't affect anyone else. Those are actually words to live by, all things considered. This is it. This is the cabin next to ours, the one the ventilator connects to. Yes, the ventilator from which Kazuma-sama wrote that he saw a speckled band emerging. Maybe whoever's in this cabin can help solve that particular mystery. Let's ask. Oh boy. Big boy. With clothes that don't fit. Oh, excuse me. We, need to get inside this cabin here. Man of not very many words. The sailor's eyes speak volumes. They're clearly saying, keep out! That's what I wrote on the sign we put over the wardrobe doors. Although this man's version is definitely more effective. Doesn't look like he's going to let us pass. That's a problem. I guess we have to talk to him. or just go into the second cabin. That's the way to the second class area of the ship. Is something wrong? I was thinking about making a run for it, just for a moment. Things aren't exactly going well for me. I might be wrong, but I imagine the moment you reach for the handle of the door, that burly seaman would surely shoot you dead. Oh dear, I'm sorry. Perhaps I went a little too far there. No, I started it with my talk of running away. There's no way I could run away while Kazuma's death remains a mystery anyway. Alright, buddy. Excuse me, but could I ask you something? You little stowaway murderer. That wasn't a good start, was it? Alright, let me try instead. Good day, Mr. Sailor. I'm so sorry to trouble you, but could I perhaps ask something of you? You little third-class lady's maid? Oh. We seem to have caught the sailor on a bad day, Susato-san. I am not sailor. My mother gave me name. I am senior crewman. Beef Stroganoff. I love beef stroganoff, dude. Woo, the best thing is to just avoid eye contact, I think. Mr. Stroganov, about this first-class cabin area. Here we are in finest part of Burya steamship for very important persons. What sort of very important persons? Government officials, kings and queens traveling in secret, many important persons. That is why I am always guarding this place. Gosh, that's amazing. But somehow I let stupid stowaway inside. I want to pick you up and throw you in ocean, but Stroganoff is not animal. Thank you? If I may, I was wondering, is the cabin next to Mr. Asogi's currently occupied? I don't know how to say that. Susato-san, did you understand that? It sounded like da. I think it's probably Russian for yes, or no. Genius. It is not permitted to visit other cabins without invitation. Well, it sounds like there is somebody in the next door cabin at least. Yes, it's tantalizing. Could you tell us who's traveling in the cabin next to Mr. Asogi's? His name is Mr. Grimsby Roylott. I don't know that one either. Grimsby Roylott? I don't know. He is a very important Western gentleman. A Western gentleman? Do not think about it. He has nothing to do with murder of student boy. How can you be so sure about that? Mr. Roylott is authentic Western gentleman. Such a man wouldn't have no interest in lowly student from insignificant Far East Islands. That was harsh. Could you tell us when Mr. Roylott came aboard? That is not your business. Come to think of it, even though we've been at sea for 2 weeks now, and I've been in Kazuma's cabin the entire time, I've never once heard anything from the next door cabin, or even felt like there's anyone there. Well, presumably, since this gentleman is occupying one of the first-class cabins, he must be rather important. Is that right? That is not your business. And last night, I'm wondering if he was here the whole time. Because if not, I don't know. Also, why is his body, like, striped? I've noticed this, but it's like his tan on his face is striped. Like he fell asleep with something on his face. It's interesting. Are you on watch here all the time, Seaman Stroganov?
Da, all time, so criminals like you cannot come in or get out.
I wonder, could you tell us anything about last night at all?
It is sad about student boy.
Were you on watch last night as well?
Of course.
And did you notice anything at the time? Anything unusual? Oh, that's not a word. Susato-san, did you understand that? It was clearly a niet. A no.
I saw nothing unusual. Nothing at all.
And you didn't hear any strange noises, or sense anything was wrong in some way?
I said no!
Sorry. I'm not so sure. I could have sworn that he wouldn't catch my eye for a moment there.
This is enough. I cannot say more now.
Oh.
It is time for me to report to Captain. You must return to cabin.
Yes, alright.
Bulkhead to second-class area is staying locked at all times. You escape when the lobster whistles on top of the mountain, or as English say, when the pigs fly.
Yes, I understand. Lobster whistles. Interesting choice of words. Especially considering that Asogi said that he heard a whistle about... How long was it before? 12 minutes before the speckled band was seen. Good. Now we can investigate this area properly, shall we? Definitely. Alright, now... There we go. Now I can actually click this. This is it. This is the cabin next to ours, the one the ventilator connects to. Yes, the ventilator from which Kazuma-san wrote that he saw a speckled band emerging. Maybe whoever's in this cabin can help solve that particular mystery. Let's ask. We can finally go in. Nothing? No answer. We're out of luck, it seems. There's no one in there to help with our inquiries. How annoying. Oh, what was that? It came from inside the cabin. Such a high-pitched scream. It must have been a woman. This is totally gonna be Herlock. Stand aside. Oh no. That's disappointing. I'm about to break the door down. Mr. Sholmes! I shan't be stopped. When the fit is on me, I revel in kicking doors off their hinges. Please, wait, Mr. Sholmes. The door doesn't appear to be bolted. It doesn't? Then how the deuce can I dispatch this muscular urge? What prey can I kick? I think we should go in. There's no time to think about stress relief. Oh boy. We have a second murder. First class cabin number 2. Oh, it's him.
Oh, who are you?
A Western gentleman? This man looks Russian to me. We heard a woman scream.
A woman? Don't be absurd. As you can see, there's nobody but me in this cabin.
True, this old man does appear to be the only person in here. But in that case, who just screamed?
Get out, all of you, now.
Please excuse the intrusion, but you're Grimsby Roylott, I believe. Yes, that's me.
And you are?
I am the one and only, the actual Herlock Sholmes. You've heard of me, no doubt.
No.
I'm a great detective among great detectives. One who adorns the covers of popular magazines, no less. So I assure you, you may trust me completely. The man uses that magazine like a business card.
A detective? I do not trust detectives.
We distinctly heard a scream emanating from within these walls. But there wouldn't appear to be a lady concealing herself within the wardrobe this time. So might I be so bold as to ask you to open that small traveling case? What?
Don't be stupid.
How could anyone fit in a small trunk like that? Well, it's quite fashionable these days, is it not? Traveling inside one's trunk. Don't look at me. There's something in there. Oh my! Did you see that, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes, the case just shook.
Leave now, otherwise I'll call the steward.
So this is Kazuma's neighbor, Mr. Grimsby Rolot? I'm gonna have so much trouble pronouncing his name. I'm just gonna call him fucking Grimsby. There's no doubt about it. This strange Russian man is holding something. I couldn't agree more. Let's see if we can find some clues before that burly sailor returns. Well, we're gonna look first. Oh my god, why are you just lounging over there? I don't know why I can't check. Oh, I can, okay. Okay, it's just gonna make me talk to him. Do you have a moment, please, Mr. Sholmes?
You need only address me as Sholmes.
That's what I just did, isn't it?
Well, Mr. Sholmes, what were you doing in there?
Why, I was resting, of course. Resting?
Indeed, I was contemplating our sea voyage from the confines of the wardrobe whilst waiting. Waiting for the inevitable time that you would need to call my great powers of deduction into service.
It's an interesting theme. I like it, though.
Oh! And it would seem that the hour is upon us now. The time has come. Am I mistaken?
Well, no, actually, you're spot on, for once.
Observe closely. Our Russian host in this cabin, Mr. Herlock, is clearly trying to hide something. And you know what the most effective weapon to use against a Russian hiding a secret? Why? The truth, of course. Though it should be pointed out that such methods are not exclusively for the Russians. Right. Can you imagine how the Russian will react when the secret he guards so closely is exposed? Would you like to witness it?
Oh, yes, please.
Well then, what you are about to see may well astound you. For I am about to apply my great detective's greatly admired great deduction to the case. Could this man be a more hackneyed portrayal of a dubious Russian, I ask you? What? From time to time, it occurs to me. Is the fellow dubious on account of his Russianness, or Russian on account of his dubiousness?
Is the fellow dubious on account of his Russianness, or Russian on account of his dubiousness? That's what? I really don't think either of those things should be occurring to you, or anyone. That's right, and Mr. Sholmes. I know this man's beard and dark glasses are hard to ignore, especially on first meeting, but I once read, it is a capital mistake to theorize before you have all the evidence. It biases the judgment.
Shh, I must have complete silence. What are you doing? Why are you peering at my face like that?
Ah, just as I thought. Yes, I have quite made up my mind now.
There can be no other explanation that accommodates all the facts. Mr. Herlock, I have reached two incontrovertible conclusions. What do you mean? Number one, your true identity is that of a villain! Using those shears, you are about to end the existence of something most dear. Are you not? Oh! too. Hear the conclusion I have drawn. You are, at this very moment no less, in the midst of committing a most grievous crime. Beneath that beard, your mouth quivers with nervous tension as you realize you have been discovered. Does it not? Ah!
Oh, Naruhodo-san, I never imagined I would witness one of Mr. Sholm's great deductions with my own eyes.
That was a great deduction?
Nothing can deceive Mr. Sholmes. In a single glance, he can deduce all there is to know about a person.
What?
What ineffable twaddle.
That's a term that I haven't heard used in quite some time.
Oh yes, I've read about it countless times in the adventures of Herlock Sholmes, and now I've experienced the astonishing impact of his great deduction firsthand. This is like a dream come true.
I can hardly believe it, but all the color is drained from Mr. Roylot's face. Looks like somehow both of Mr. Sholmes' conclusions were right. How? How could you? How can I possibly know such things, you wish to say? Very well then, I shall elucidate. I shall explain how it was that I arrived at this pair of conclusions. So I do cordially invite you upon a journey of logical discovery. Let us board the train of reasoning. Put plainly, let us work through my deductions together. The Great Deduction. The game is afoot. So, the dubious-looking Russian, Mr. Roylott, obviously what catches the eye in the first place is the enormous pair of shears in your hand. Now we ask ourselves, what could you possibly want with such an implement? The answer, of course, is staring us in the face. You were on the verge of using the shears to cut away the copious beard you sport. On. The question then begged is this: why would you desire to rid yourself of this magnificent beard, Mr. Roylott? Once again, the answer is plain. We have clear evidence to shed light on the matter. Regard, if you will, this morning's newspaper, in particular the fascinating front-page article, which it would appear you have read also, Mr. Roylott. I'm sure it needs no further clarification. The evidence that reveals your true identity is the article about the revolutionary. In translation, the headline reads, "Revolutionary violent Bolshevik flees Russia via Shanghai." As you cannot fail to observe, the subject of the article possesses an extremely copious beard. Having noted the article yourself, you decided to remove your incriminating facial hair before it gave you away. In short, your true identity is beyond doubt. You are the fearsome Russian revolutionary himself, villain Bolshevik. Not that I've heard of you myself, you understand. Oh man, going through all of them at once. Now, as for my second conclusion, you are, at this very moment, on the brink of committing a most grievous crime. And the proof of this crime, over there. Oh yes, Mr. Roylott. Taken unawares, people have a propensity to let their eyes stray, you see. Ah! And I assure you, the eye speaks so much more eloquently and honestly than the mouth. The answer we seek lies where the furtive glance falls. The proof of your crime sits before our very eyes. Yes, that traveling case. It is time, I think, that the case be opened and its contents laid bare. No, I refuse. What could you possibly be concealing inside, we ask? By my estimation,
A young lady, perhaps. One slight enough to fit therein.
Don't be absurd.
And what, pray, would be the identity of this young lady in the traveling case? Dear me, we are not well suited to a life of crime, are we? You careless coup d'oeil betrays you. I've never heard of that before. I also don't know very much French, so that's probably why. Once again, we only need follow your furtive glance to find the answer. Yes, the reason you refuse to open your traveling case can equally be found in the pages of this newspaper. For there is another, most stimulating article. If we turn from the fleeing revolutionary to the back page, renowned prima ballerina of the Novavik Ballet disappears from Shanghai. Such a headline can lead us to but one conclusion. Your crime is that of abduction, and according to the article, the young lady's name is Nikolina Pavlova. Thus concludes Herlock Sholmes's great deduction of this Russian enigma, Eleminsky. Susato-san, that wasn't one of the great deductions I've been hearing so much about, was it? I think it was, Naruto, and next time on the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles, we're going to see what we can do with that. I like that. That was a very interesting new mechanic. So yeah, definitely looking forward to seeing how we can tackle that, dismantle it, and take it apart. We noticed that, well, some of the statements definitely run true because, well, he seemed shocked and taken back by the fact that he was able to deduce that, but some of them definitely didn't quite hit the mark, as evidenced by the question marks. So yeah, we'll see how we can take that apart next time. I'm going to be having a lot of fun with this. The sort of investigation section of this game so far has definitely sort of outpaced pretty much every other Ace Attorney game, other than, of course, the Ace Attorney Investigations games. But yeah, definitely looking forward to tackling Herlock Sholmes and finding out what's wrong and what the truth is. So next time, I will see you guys then.